Okay, change of plan. How many times have you had to do that this year? 2020 has been a year of changed plans. Some have been very small, some have been very big. As an example, weekend just gone, I was expecting to spend Saturday at my cousin's wedding, and I was expecting on Sunday for us to be gathered back at the pyramid for the first time. Neither of those things were able to happen. My cousin still got married, but I wasn't able to go to it. Today, I'm filming this at KCC because I was expecting a delivery to be delivered here last week. It wasn't, so now I'm here waiting for it today. Life is full, isn't it, of these moments where our plans seem to change. We plan to do one thing, something happens, now we have to go and come up with another plan, do something different. Sometimes those things are massive, sometimes they're potentially quite small or insignificant. Here's the thing though, our plans might change, but regardless of that, we remain God's plan A, and he remains at work in us and through us and around us, whatever the situation is. I want to give you an example from Acts chapter 16. In fact, chapter 16 is full of examples of plans changing. To begin with, in chapter 16, Paul and Silas are planning to cross over into a territory called Bithynia, and they're prevented from doing so by the Spirit of the Lord. They're not allowed. They're prevented from going in there. Their plan has to change. Paul has a vision of a man in Macedonia, so they go there instead. When they get there, they arrive in a city called Philippi, and they meet this lady called Lydia, and her and her whole family are baptized, and she becomes this incredible preacher of the gospel, this incredible disciple sharing the good news of Jesus. God has moved through their change of plans. Then their plans change again, and there's an incident. I won't go into the full details of it, but they find themselves in prison. That definitely wasn't part of the plan. Now here's the thing. While Paul and Silas are in prison, they do something quite interesting. They don't sort of sit there and lament the fact that they're in prison. They don't sort of think, well, what are we going to do now? What the Bible tells us, what Acts tells us, is that they spend the night worshipping, praying, and singing hymns. They know that despite the fact that their plans have changed drastically, their God is still in control. Their God is still at work through them. It's the same for us. Despite the fact that some of our plans have had to change drastically this year, God is still at work in us, through us, and around us, no matter what those plans are. Back in that prison cell during the night, there's an earthquake. The doors fling open, and Paul and Silas are presented with this incredible opportunity to witness for the gospel to their jailer. He becomes a follower of Jesus. They get to preach the gospel to the people that had thrown them into prison in the first place, and then their journey carries on. We've got two choices when our plans change. We can either lament the fact that our plans have changed. We're not going to get to do what we're going to want to do. And I know it hurts because there's been so many of those moments this year, and they're difficult to face. But God is still good. God is still moving. God is still active. So when we find ourselves in situations where our plans change, instead of focusing on the plan that has been lost, we can worship God. We can look back to God who remains good and say, what do you want to do in this moment? What are you up to in this situation that I found myself in here? And like Paul and Silas did in that prison cell, like Paul and Silas did in Philippi, we can follow what God's up to, and we can see incredible things happen, things that we would never in our wildest dreams have planned. The fact that I'm in KCC is kind of significant for this as well. Right back at the start of the year, we had absolutely no plans to start a food aid ministry. But 2020 happened, and in March we decided we needed to do something about the fact that people were going to go hungry. And now here we are, 6-7 months later, and King's Table is a thing. It is a massive thing. Our plans for the whole year had to change, and out of it has come something good, because we made a decision that what we were going to do was keep focused on God, keep focused on the fact that he is good, and follow what he wanted to happen, what he was doing in that situation. So my thought for the week is this: there is a significant chance that before this year is out, your plans are going to change again and again and again. And those moments are going to be difficult. There's no denying it. But keep focused on God. Keep focused on what he wants to do in you and through you and around you in those moments. And you never know. In fact, I'm pretty confident that the things that come out of it will end up being better than what you had planned in the first place. God bless you. Have a fantastic week. See you soon.